Bree. I'm joined by Terry and Laura today. Thanks for coming on to the Punksylvania Punkcast. What's going on, ladies? What's happening?
I'm glad you got it this time.
You guys have no idea what we just went through to deliver that to you all.
That was amazing. But yeah, no, not a whole lot. Kind of just it's been really warm here, so I've been hitting up the beach. As you can see, I'm finally starting to get a little bit darker, catching on my tan.
Oh yeah, me too.
But yeah, not a lot's been going on for me. What about you girls?
Yard work,
Working,
chasing kids, same bullshit, different day, really.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot going on right now. I'm like looking at my future for the summer. Actually, I paid off the rest of the deposit for the cottage, so I got that going for me in July.
Nice. Yeah, there's not a super ton to look forward to anymore this summer, but we're all just kind of hanging in there, I guess. There's some cool new stuff, coming at us all the time, though, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the Bad Cop Girls just released a new video for their single, Simple Girl, and it's got a lot of familiar faces in it, so maybe go check it out. Their new album called The Ride comes out June 19th on Fat Wreck, so look into that, too.
Speaking of Bad Cop, we all know how much I love them, and so this just came in the mail, like, right before we did this. Been waiting for a long time for this. So basically, like a year and a half ago, I started following this guy, Darren, on Instagram, and he makes all these really cool handcrafted wooden signs. So I hit him up and I was like, man, it'd be really cool if I could like have a Bad Cop donut. And here we are, 7 months later, pretty much. But like, check this shit out, you guys. Look at this.
Pretty.
Like, what even is this? I am floored by it. I can't wait to hang it up on my wall. So I want to give him a huge shout out and say thank you to Darren from D's 3D Signs. Go follow him on Instagram. Maybe send him a message. See if you can get something pretty cool. He does all sorts of punk rock shit and he will blow your mind. But yeah, I can't wait to hang this bad boy up. So there's that. That's good news, I guess, right?
Yeah, I kind of went and bought like 6 donuts. Our bakery finally opened up because they're releasing their restrictions. We are now at stage 2. We're allowed to have 10 people now instead of 5. So woohoo! I finally went to the bakery, picked up 6 donuts. I got my plans for tonight. You guys don't want to because it's gonna be nasty.
If anyone knows Terry, donuts are like her thing.
Punk rock and donuts.
Punk rock donuts, and because I hate running, but I have to do it because it's the only way I can supplement my donut addiction.
It's the only way we can enjoy the donuts.
So today's episode, we've got 2 fantastic guests. We have David Rodriguez from the Casualties, and we have Amy Gabba. So I'm very excited now. Off the deep end today is actually pretty heavy.
It's pretty deep.
Yeah, we've just finished shooting it. So actually, I'm not going to give away too much, so check it out. I wanna go to Camp Punksylvania. I wanna go to Camp Punksylvania.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's segment of Off the Deep End. I'm here with Terry and Bree. As always, I'm Laura. And this week we're actually joined by David Rodriguez of Starving Wolves, Casualties, Crumb Bums. I guess I probably should have started with the bands that he's not in. How's it going?
Hey, what's up? I'm just
How are you?
I'm doing good in Austin. I guess that's like a loaded question right now. I'm healthy. There's a lot of wild things going on. The world is in a very transitional phase, and so kind of emotionally, I'm in la la land. Like I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But healthy. I'm doing good. I'm around my family. I got to meet you wonderful people, and I'm excited to kind of chat and talk.
Now
we're excited too.
You're working on a new album right now, and you're saying you're healthy right now, but that wasn't always the case. And
no,
I understand where you are coming from because I am healthy too, and I don't have a platform of which I can put my words and my experience into, but you do, and that's kind of what you're working on right now, isn't it?
Yes. Well, you know what? So we can make this completely open. Healthy as in I am not falling over drunk and in a lot of pain. And there's something that I thought about this. If I would have been, so very shortly, about 5 years ago, a little bit more, I kind of woke up out of maybe a year, maybe more, kind of blackout, and it was time for a change. That's kind of a dramatic way to say it, but that's how it feels when I look back on it. And I was going to take a month off of drinking, and through a little bit of resistance, I took another 5 months to see if I could get to 6. And now I'm at almost 5.5 years. And I am in such a different world than I ever thought I could be. And I feel so fucking grateful in a way of that this is about me. And it's not about doing it for your partner or your parents or anything else. And I think that's something that's hard to digest, because we don't want to let go of something that we really kind of enjoy or we're addicted to. They go hand in hand. You're addicted to it, you want to do it. You have fun, you want to do it, and you stop. The consequences become less important. And I had zero, I didn't give a fuck about any consequence. And at the same time, I thought I was the best, most caring person. But now, after a little bit of, clear mind, I'm just like, I'm able to comprehend what's going on in the world, and be there for people, and also be there for myself. And that's a big thing. That's another enormous loaded question.
Yeah, it's been 9 years since really I've had my last drink, so I get it. I always
Yeah.
thank you. I always go back as to, I call it almost two personas. 15 years ago, Terry, and Terry now are not the same person, but I'm happy to have had her, just so I can kind of see where I'm going and how I'm going. Like, I don't know where I would be right now had I not had been this person and seen the shit I did, the people I hurt, the things, I don't talk about it very often because I still carry that shame, and definitely there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of hurt. I've hurt a lot of people, but I would not change one thing. Maybe hurt less people, but I definitely needed that to become where I am now. And it's tough to talk about. Addiction is definitely, it's, once you're out of it, it's a whole new world.
Weird. It is. And I don't really, I talk about it a lot. But since this pandemic thing, we've been doing a lot of video interviews where I don't really articulate it the same way. When I'm writing, typing an interview through email, I can word it a little bit different. But this Zoom chat is very, say what you mean what you say, exactly. And addicts, we can tell in our face too. You can't hide the emotion in your face. But there's something also a little bit strange the way that I feel. I'm really happy and lucky to be involved with some really awesome people, and we work with other addicts and alcoholics, and I have found early on in my when I started feeling there needed to be a change, I hated the fucking word sober. I hated the idea of change, and I hated all these names. And then once I got moving, I accepted those names. But the way that I try to work, and the way that I think it's helpful for people like us, because honestly, I work with a lot of I'm happy to work with anybody, but people that are kind of into punk music and maybe art minded, they feel more comfortable talking to me. And so I try to think, in this world of addiction, we're very similar. When people say you're not special, it doesn't mean you personally aren't special. It means this issue isn't special. Like, people with cancer are extremely special, but the cancer, they all can connect on it. So that's kind of how addiction is. So now these days, I really try to stay away excuse me, away from like these words, and I just talk about what the problem is, because I feel like it really puts a bad taste in people's mouth, because they see it as us and them, and really we're just trying to get to a point like that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great way to describe it, you know, for people who maybe do find it a little more difficult to understand. I mean, everybody has someone in their life, either they're dealing with it themselves or they know somebody that's going through this. So maybe that puts it in a little bit of a different perspective for those people who are having trouble kind of getting on that level or understanding maybe why or what to do.
Well, I think too, like, if you imagine somebody who's in some fucking pain and scared, and is really kind of like connects more with people like us. Do you want to talk to, hey, I know this sober guy, he works at a rehab center, he's major part of AANA or something, or hey, do you want to talk to David?
Yeah.
You want to talk to the person. I don't want to hear all these labels, because then people start feeling it's it's too much to digest. And to be honest, it was too much for me to digest, and I used to make fun of it, man. I remember when you go back after you make the change, you look at how many different ways you were begging for help, even subconsciously to yourself, you know, like, you know, there's a problem, but the addict is going, fuck, you know, shut the fuck up, shut up, he's gonna catch us. So I remember watching on Sunday nights, I would watch Intervention, and I would watch it with a big fucking bottle of vodka, because for whatever reason, towards the end, we just we IV vodka. But I would just get fucking wasted, and I would be, look at this fucking loser, get over it, it's not that bad, I've been there. And then halfway, some of the times I would be like holding back these tears, because I was like, fuck, I empathize with these people. And so again, I like to just make it like, let's fucking talk. You cannot make anybody do anything, and you 100% cannot make anybody stop drinking or doing drugs. Now, what I can do is learn the art of like tricking you. You know, I drink vodka, I go out to my car 12 times, I can only pop in at these times before I start to get the shakes. Or, you know, let's talk about it. Don't judge each other.
Yeah.
That is the whole point of this show for us, is let's talk about the things that make us human. And that's when we get comfortable about it.
You know what is so crazy, and I'm so stoked that we're doing this, is that I try to have, what's the term, like my big toe in a little bit of everything, but I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know y'all were doing this. And this morning when I heard what the big picture of it was, I was so happy, because this is really one of like behind the scenes thing that I want to do and try to help a little bit with, because none of us know when something's going to happen. You and I, we honestly don't know. We may snap tonight and go, you know what? It's not that I'm going to try to burn the fucking house down, but I don't give
the
a fuck
fucking
right
house
now.
down.
Yeah, but I'm good for the house down.
But we never start with that. But you know, and the idea is that we're human and we make mistakes. But if we watch shit like this and we talk like this, we get like a backpack full of tools. So when we fall off, we can get back up. and that's what we learn through conversation. And for I love the term of empathy together, just kind of realizing maybe you don't have the same problem, but we have similar problems. And so people that don't have any tools, they feel like the world is devouring them. But once you start learning the tools, like the first tool, call somebody. If you call me and I can stop you, cool. But if you call me and you do it anyways, maybe it might slow you down.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I had a friend actually just, message me, and they're like, I'm sitting in the bar, and I'm like, is that what you really want right now? Like, is this, I'm not going to stop you. I can't stop you. But is this what you want? And they didn't talk to me. Actually, they stopped talking to me from that day on.
But you know what? That initial message that, hey, I'm at the bar, that right there is the subconscious in their mind that I know I shouldn't be doing this.
But
and
yeah,
that is, whether it be a cry for help or a self-realization, it's there. It's a seed that's been planted.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all you really need, is to just talk to somebody. You need to just let people know. Sometimes people still feel so alone. Everybody does, of course. But
especially
when you see things like this, and you know that there are people who are struggling still every day, but are also successful people, there is hope. There is hope, and there's ways to change and ways to be better. You just have to recognize that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think I heard somebody say, could you imagine being in your addiction right now?
No.
Oh, dude, I would be in
no.
a fucking blackout. My house would look like when the gremlins go crazy in the bar. That's what my house would look like. I'd be hanging on the fucking ceiling fan, cigarette butts out all over. I'd be lucky if my sweet fur baby Poncho was alive. I forget about everything when I'm in it.
Yeah, it's scary to think about that too, and it's something to be grateful for, but then also to kind of shine light on. There are people right now who are really struggling. I mean, even just mentally, mental health wise, everybody's in a huge, whether it be a real depression or just there's a low. It's a very sad kind of vibe that you feel. You get a little hopeful here and there, but then at the same time, there's so many uncertainties. So it puts your mind in some bad spots. So to either allow yourself to slip away a little bit, you got to try and sort that out. But it's scary to think about having to deal with that in a time like this.
There is, and what's really cool is, like, I was the most self-hating person that I'd ever met. Now, that's not saying other people aren't, but for me and my world, I was just like, I hated everything and I hated everyone. But I have a pretty happy-go-lucky, like, demeanor, but inside my brain was like, like the looks could kill. Like, I'm killing everyone. I hated the world. But I kind of also, in this past couple of years, I was always looking for the differences in me and everybody else. And somewhere along the lines, I start noticing we have more similarities than differences. And I made a click in my brain when I'm talking about this and really trying to communicate with a large number of people. I want to talk about the fucking positives of somebody that lived on rock bottom. My rock bottom was low, and I was always bouncing off of it. So I'm not in a lot of, I hate to say the terms, but we kind of are on a punk show. A lot of punks don't have a bottom. Like, bottom is dead for us.
Yeah.
Because, who are our heroes?
You're right.
Full-fledged people caught in addiction, and that's okay, dude. We love them. That's what we learned too, like with this kind of empathy. Dude, they were struggling, they were in pain. And the thing that's hard for people to really realize is a lot of times musicians and actors and artists, anything, I'm not saying that we or they are special, but we're talking about this, but you see them grow and you watch their downfalls, and we judge the fuck out of people's downfalls. And that's the sad thing and the hard thing. You know, a lot of times in early addiction, you are like these, like, wow, I've never been fucked up like this. Let me write about it. And it's awesome. It's fucking amazing. But then it swallows you. And, you know, you don't see them and you talk about these people like, oh, they're losers. They don't have it anymore. Their last record fucking blows, blah, blah, blah. And we judge so fucking hard. But kind of back to my point was that now I'm at this point where I want to spread this positive message. We can be down there, but we can fucking crawl our way back up. So I'm really excited to, you know, also spread some fucking positive shit.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. You know, you just said it right there. You know, you can climb out of this. This does not have to be your bottom line. This isn't your, you know, you can definitely move up. And like, I look back then to where I look now, I'm like, shit, this stuff that's even happened. It's night and day, but I'm so thankful for it. Like, I would not change any of it for, you couldn't pay me. It's been awesome. What a ride.
No.
But I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad for today. I'm glad I got to meet you guys. You know,
come on now.
Stoked I get to talk.
That's what I say.
You.
I always say, like, the thing is, my days were a shit show for years and years and years. And I didn't, you know, some days I could appreciate this or that. Most days I didn't.
No.
And I also thought that was cool. I thought it was cool to be dark and nothing is good. You know, people would say, oh, dude, this was great. And you did this and you were there. Yeah, whatever. But now it's like every day I have these little gifts. And that's what, like, sometimes people like us, we have a different issue. And we have a big hole in us sometimes. And we fill it with alcohol and other things, with whatever it is. When a lot of times we need to let that hole, it kind of becomes, maybe if you think about it, like, you know, it lets air go through. It's all, that hole's always going to be there, but we have to learn how to use it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you let it carry you over, push it, you know, let it move you faster. If anything, it lifts you up. I understand 110% exactly what you're talking about.
I have little gifts every day, and I kind of need that.
Yeah.
Like this is a huge gift for me. My mom just had like a really heavy surgery, and I'm taking care of her for like 2 weeks, and nobody knows how to make you crazy like your mom. So
Amen.
or dad, whatever. But I'm with her, and I love her, and what a fucking gift, dude. You know what? I'm in a fucking pandemic. I should be on tour, which sucks. But my mom would have had this surgery no matter what. And when I see the amount of things that we get to do together and I get to be there for her, fuck.
That's amazing.
Boom.
What a gift.
Worth it, absolutely.
Yeah, everything's a gift, you know.
We're all going to cry today.
That's my robot persona. But, you know, you guys still have something coming up, you know, you guys are still booked for November. Isn't that right? Like,
Casualties?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starbrook? I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, we are. We are booked, and it's funny because somebody wrote me and was like, hey, I wanted to know, can you come to Italy? But you know what's funny too? It's like, we can't just bounce all over the place. There's a fucking pandemic. It's different everywhere. It's like, yeah, we'll be over there. But
and it's different every single day. Like we don't know what the world is going to be like a week from now, let alone in November. So really, like, what do we do? What do you say? You can't really have an answer for anything.
I know, and that's where I have to check myself too, because everybody's just as confused as me. But sometimes I'll get it. I'm like, what do you think? I don't know. I mean, look, I have a special click. Yeah. Can you guys let me know? Is this possible? I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm hoping, and I'm excited. I'm super stoked if we get to play. And how is that gonna look? People 5 feet apart from one another. Does everything go back to normal? Who knows?
Yeah, there's so many unknowns there, and it's a little scary for everybody in the world, but especially live music. That's a whole lifestyle and everything that's just going to either be completely different or on hold for, well, until further notice. Really, no one really has any idea. It's scary.
No,
And we
it
all
is.
thrive off of that. I mean, that's a light in all of our lives, is punk rock and music and the feeling that it gives us. So to not be able to have that is a little that's really nerve-wracking.
It is. It's very nerve-wracking.
So how do you feel? Let's talk about the new Starving Wolves album really quick. Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Let's do it.
Because it's so good.
Woo! Awesome. I have so much. If I'm ever quiet, it's because I talk too much, so I'm listening.
No, you don't talk too much. This is what we need. We love this.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm so fucking stoked with this. We really, really took our time and did this how we wanted. There were a ton of mistakes that happened and a lot of learning. But again, when Crumb Bums took a break, you know, we kind of broke up, but there's a short Crumb Bum story that goes along with this. We started Crumb Bums in, like, our original drummer, Chuck, he'll say that we started in 99. For some reason, my drunken mind thinks it was right at 2000, but he says it was a little earlier. So it probably was. But we were together for about 16 years, and we really grew as musicians and artists, if that word works, but also as drug addicts and alcoholics. And I can only speak for myself, but when we kind of needed to take a break, I was like in the depths of as far down as I could be, like waking up in the hospital and running out with no shirt on and shit still stuck into me didn't make anything. It didn't make a difference to me. Waking up in ambulances didn't do anything to me. Waking up, in ditches on the side of the road didn't mean anything to me. So when the band was having a lot of troubles, I wasn't there to help with anything. So it kind of fell apart. And maybe a little bit over a year later, we started Starving Wolves, but I really did not know if I wanted to play music anymore, because as we were talking about it, I kept thinking, how do I juggle getting drunk like I want to get drunk and being at practice and writing lyrics and being, a friend and helper part of this band. And so I somehow stopped drinking right as the band started. And then all of a sudden I needed to engulf myself in it, or I was going to think about drinking. And so anyways, to kind of speed it up to the good stuff, I said, okay, Crumb Bums has a certain way of writing. And I'll always write kind of dark. That's just how I am. But in Starving Wolves, there has to be solution. There has to be something in there where people can read between the lines and see what I'm saying, if that makes sense. I don't like to preach to people, but I'm going to connect with you on these terms. And that started to feel really good. And I got the shivers. I remember we were at April's house, and we're playing, and I got like goosebumps and I got the shivers, and I had to go to the bathroom because I got like so emotional, like I was like turning white, because I hadn't felt that good. That wasn't 15 shots in the biggest rail of coke ever. And I felt like that. And all of a sudden I said, I know what my drug is. It's just feeling shit. And no, it sounds lame, but I was like, oh, I'm such a weirdo. I think like this. If I do what I really want to do and I work hard at it, people won't mess with me. If I do what I'm supposed to do, then they can't get me. And I thought that was my way of cheating. And so it took me a long time to realize I'm just doing what I really, really want to do. And so as Starving Wolves progressed, we really put into our minds, let's not do it the way that we used to do it. It doesn't have to be this way or that way. Just fucking let it go. And we came up with our own, I feel like our own sound that sounds different from Crumb Bums, or even now with Casualties. It has its own vibe. But we've really, really worked on what we wanted. We wanted to record with Jack Control, and we recorded with him. We wanted to work with a couple of labels, but it didn't work out. And we said, dude, what are we struggling for with this? We always wanted to do it ourselves. We talked about this when we were 14 amongst our own friends. It was always the dream, like Minor Threat. Put out your own fucking record, like Youth Brigade. Do everything yourself. And in reality, now with online and all this stuff, if you can afford to put it out yourself, it's the fucking smartest way to do it. We make all the choices, and we see, even though we don't make money off of this, but you see like, oh, we just paid off what the record cost. Oh, we can afford to get the tires changed in our van. And you feel, again, these little gifts. When you do the fucking work, you receive both good and bad. And you deserve it. You know it.
That is awesome. I don't know how even, David, I want to say a huge thank you. That was what my heart's just like, boom, 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 boom.
Me too.
Like rainbows shooting out my ass right about now. Like,
me too. We're meeting.
Terry's a
Double
robot.
rainbow,
You don't
double
understand.
rainbow.
Terry doesn't have feelings.
Like, I'm a robot.
Let alone rainbows.
Rainbows shooting, man. Like, thank you so much for that. Again, where can we find your stuff?
You can go to starvingwolves.com. It's on Spotify, Bandcamp, but go to our Facebook, go to our Instagram. We literally write everybody back. We sent all the records out ourselves. You might find little gifts and little notes and stuff in there. So if you want to talk with us, contact us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. The girls and my robot heart has.
I don't even have words anymore. Like,
yeah.
I just sitting here.
I'm sorry I spoke so much.
No, it was
it was perfect.
It was perfect.
I'm totally down to do this again.
We would love to have you. So again,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Love it. Thank
Bye.
you.
thanks again, David. I get what you're saying. For a long time, I was definitely in that deep hole. Like I said earlier, I hurt a lot of people. I did a lot of shit that I didn't want. At the time, it was exactly what I wanted, but looking back, it should never, it's still tough to talk about. I'm surprised that after I haven't drank in 9 years and I still have a hard time talking back. And I know they say to talk about these things and it makes it easier, and it does, it really does, but there's still that shame that, it's kind of like the little devil on my shoulder that's always there. It's always talking to me. Hey, Terry, hey, look, someone's drinking. Why don't you go join them, or something like that? So I get it. I guess the hardest part since, it's kind of going to shows. I've been questioned on the fact that I don't drink. What do you mean you don't drink? Well, do you really want to sit there and listen to my life story and want me to bring up all the bad shit I used to do? Like, it never got to as bad where I had to be dragged out of an ambulance or anything like that. But, there was definitely people that got hurt. Things definitely got fucking, like, broke and shit. Just, yeah. Again, still hard for me to, and hopefully maybe as this show goes on, I'll be able to talk about it more. But it's definitely, that one hit definitely hard. Right here, right in the robot heart, just, it's not.
Yeah, but you know what? It's almost beautiful in a way too, because there's so many people, like we talked about, so many people struggling with, whether it be alcoholism or addiction in general, especially right now. Maybe we can't physically help you, but maybe you watching us right now lets you know that you're not alone, that you can pop into our messages, you can get a hold of us, and we're here. We're going to listen. This is a judgment-free zone. You are not alone. So
no,
there's people like Terry and people like David who come out of these things every single day, successfully. So just use that as a little bit of hope to kind of maybe keep you going.
Get you through till tomorrow.
Yeah, and it kind of turned things to like where we ended up in the second half of this podcast, or Punkcast, I'm gonna say, with Amy. Things got a little bit heavy with Amy Gabba coming up, as you're gonna see too. It's the world is crazy right now, and it's taking a little bit of a toll on everybody, differently, of course, but it hits hard on all levels, and I think it's something that we definitely need to use this opportunity to kind of just shine that kind of light on it.
I wanna go to Camp Punksylvania. I wanna go to Camp Punksylvania.
Hey guys, if you're just joining us, this is a segment of Sisterhood of the Traveling Punx, and we are now talking with Amy Gabba.
Hey.
Hi.
Yeah.
You're such a natural.
That was very good, Bree.
That was amazing, Bree. I was like, damn, I'm like, you've done this before.
Okay.
Once now. You should
What was
see
that?
the last episode had the best throw of, like, I don't know, that whole extra. I was like, little chills that were coming out. It was so good, Bree. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We are slowly getting there. One of these days, we're not going to have to piece these together.
That's okay. Sometimes that's fun, though. It adds character.
The awkward silences, everybody just staring.
So I've just been allowed to travel again, and I've never seen a show in Canada. So tell me what your scene's like.
Oh, well, this is an interesting conversation now because just
pre-COVID, I guess.
Pre-COVID, I think it's amazing. I mean, one thing I love about Toronto is that I have so many musician friends, but they're not all punk and they're not all ska, and some of them play in country bands and like tour around. But everybody in Toronto, it's like actually a small world, the music scene here. Everyone seems to know each other, and everyone's really supportive and, for the most part, pretty friendly and pretty like down to earth and awesome, which is good. So I'm a little nervous to see what it's going to be like in, because it's illegal here to have live music essentially in Toronto. I don't know if it's all of Ontario, but it is like not allowed under any circumstances because they're arguing that people have to get too close to each other when loud music's being played so they can talk. And I was like, let's just ban talking because that makes way more sense.
I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah. So would I. I'd be like, yeah, I'll take a vow of silence. And if it's important, I'll text the person next to me. It's easier to do that anyway. That's what we do because I can't hear shit at shows. So Yeah, and like all my favorite venues that we've played at are like now closed. So I'm just really hoping that everyone rallies to bring it back to life when that time comes. But for now, it's like hard to make peace with the fact that we don't even know what it's going to look like in the future. So, but pre-COVID, oh my God, like time of your life, and you like something for everybody. Like, would you agree too? Yeah, like I think there's something for literally everybody. If your dad comes to visit, or if you're like shy, like, you know, grandmother is coming, or if like someone who likes to party hard, it's like there is something for everybody there for sure.
Yeah, the funny thing about Toronto is that it's really just one spot. It's not like in the States where you have like big city, big city, big city, big city. Toronto is the big city, and that's it. There's really nothing, I guess London, Ottawa, but they're still fairly far away. It's still hours. Ottawa,
Yeah.
it's like
Montreal's far.
Yeah, like 7 hours away. Like there's huge gaps in our cities. And then if you really think Vancouver, 2 days if you're driving. So
no, absolutely.
You know, if you have, and that's the one problem about Toronto is that because of it, shows tend to be a bit more pricier. Like you're going there for a weekend, but your weekend's going to be a fun one. That's for sure. Yeah. I definitely love going to Toronto. It's one of my favorite things.
And you can just go and like not even know where your night's going. Like you can start at this show and then end up at another one, then end up at another one, and then another band's playing at 3 a.m. somewhere because it's 4 a.m. last call, and it just never ends some nights, and it's really cool because you're bound to run into a bunch of people that you know or don't know, and like that's how I made a lot of friends in the city. It's just networking. It's really cool to see. Everyone's pretty close.
Yeah, last time I went, which was the Casualties and String Out show, I probably found 3 different PPT members. And like, I don't know, it's Punk Pitching Tents is part of a Facebook group. That's kind of where we found each other. But that we're all going to Anarchy, and then to find each other in Toronto, where there's like, 9 million people, I think, in Toronto.
I think it's like 5, but I mean, the surrounding cities and stuff probably make up a lot more. But it's, like, that's why it's weird that it feels small town sometimes when it's definitely not. Like, I grew up in a small town, so I know it's nothing like that. Calgary is nothing like Toronto. So, but Toronto, it just feels like more community than any of those other places, because I felt other cities are a little bit like more segregated, whereas there's overlap and everybody goes to everybody's shows, and it's not just like you only listen to punk or you only listen to these kinds of bands. Like, everyone kind of, plays in multiple projects and does all kinds of different stuff. So it's really cool.
A lot of collaboration. What's your favorite venue in Toronto?
Oh, that's so hard.
There's so many.
I mean, it's for different reasons too. Like some places are just like, there's this little bar called The Piston on, I think, Dundas. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it only has like a capacity of like 150 people. But the sound in that room is like absolutely incredible. Jasper Dandy as well. I had my EP released there, and what I love is like it's a full bar in the front, and then you go through and there's a bar, and then the stage and the room is at the very back, and it's just beautiful and the sound's amazing. But you kind of have like people who are there for the show are really, really there for the show, as opposed to like, you're playing to tables where everybody's kind of like eating or doing their own thing. It's like, no, like you're there for this venue, and that's the focus. So I love those. And I like intimate shows too. I'm not a big fan of like the giant ones where you're just crammed in, and I get fairly claustrophobic. So that's not really like my thing. Like you won't find me in the pit. I get really like, but I love to be up close and stuff, but I'd rather do it in like a tiny little room where you can like feel it,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the Phoenix, for that reason, I find that one's, I went to see Bouncing Souls. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
It was hot as balls in there, but holy was like, I felt very intimate. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like for a bigger venue too. And I never feel like it's oversold or like you can't move in there. It's always pretty comfortable. But I mean, I've seen some shows at like, I want to say like the Danforth, where I'm just like, okay, I'm actually going to be sick right now. Like I can't, or like the Horseshoe when the air conditioning doesn't work, like, which seems to be all summer long. And like the show's sold out and you're just like, I'm literally in my nightmare right now. And there's nothing I can do about it because the stage and everything's at the very back. So you have to fight through like 3 bars to escape essentially. So, not saying anything bad about that venue, but I just have I like the ones that aren't as smushy.
Now, what's do you have any other Canadian cities that you enjoy going to when you do?
I mean, Montreal for some reason has some sort of curse on me. Montreal doesn't want anything to do with me, and I'm not saying that the people at all. It's like every time I've planned to go to Montreal, and it's been like 6-7 times, something happens. There's like a death in the family, or the car breaks down, or there's like a freak blizzard. Like it's actually wild. So Montreal scares me a little bit. I don't really put a lot of effort into going there anymore because I feel like, okay, like I don't want bad things to happen. But I love, like, London is really amazing to play. I really love like they're closer to Toronto, I guess. Barrie's always been amazing. I like playing this little place called Sault Ste. Marie, and I know it sounds crazy. You've probably never heard of it, but well, you have. But a lot of my really good friends were born there, and it's such a like adorable place, and everybody's so close, and they love music. They love going to shows, and they will like crowd surf and come out 3 nights in a row if you're there for the full weekend, and just like really show so much love and support. And it's just some of the funnest shows I've ever played. So I love going there. I haven't toured the States, actually. Like I haven't played shows down south. We had stuff planned for this year, and now it's not happening. But I never really like branched out and toured a lot down the States because it's so complicated. Like they want to see all the visas and everything, and when you're just kind of like a solo artist for the most part, you're just like,
I don't know if you've heard of Camp Punksylvania, but we would probably have you next summer.
Yeah, we would.
I'll just play at the entrance being like, thank you for coming. No, I like just being my guitar at the front. No, I would love to do that. Oh my God, that'd be so much fun. And
we would love that. That would be super great.
Really?
Done.
Down. If you want me to, I'm so there. I'm like, you don't even have to pay me. I'll pay you to let me play there. No, I think it'd be so much fun.
Done. You guys heard it first. Amy Gabba, first artist for 2021 Camp Punksylvania lineup.
I'm like, okay, and who wants to play with me? That'd be great. If anyone wants to reach out, let me know.
That would be awesome.
Oh, we have tons of awesome buckets. We can hook it up.
I love it. No, not that I love my band, but like they're all so busy. They're like, and like I'm just scared for 2021 because it's like, as soon as shows return, everybody's going to be like triple booked now because they're like.
Well, that's the thing that everybody seems to be worried about is like, okay, so where are you going first? How are you like? How is this even going to work? There's everybody in the world is going to need to book their shows, and there's only so many places to do so, and a lot of these places
left.
The supply is cut in half now.
Down.
I just read 90% of music venues could close by the end of the year.
Well,
90%.
exactly. So then who's going to want to, it's going to be hard for Amy Gabba to play a show somewhere. And not only that, like all the musicians are going to be like just pulled all over the place, and no one's going to have, I'm sure it's going to be amazing in some ways, but it's a little terrifying. And I think there's going to be a lot of, you're going to need to be flexible where I'm like, okay, like I'm going to play shows. Whoever wants to go play with me, learn the songs, it's cool. Because I think there will be a lot of that. There will be a lot of like subbing and people working on different projects because not everyone's going to be available. And it's going to be great because everyone's going to be booked. But at the same time, it's going to make scheduling like a complete fucking nightmare. And I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of like double bookings and administrative errors. I do not wish I was in those people's shoes at all. So.
Yeah,
Speaking of the projects going on right now, what do you think of all these bands like doing all these live streams and all these collaborations?
I mean, I love it because I know how, like, it's not the same. We're just trying to do something because it's like, I have certain days where it really hits home how long it could be before I hit a stage again. And that's what we all do this for the most part, right? Like we write songs and put out albums. Yeah, that's awesome. But we don't want to do that 24/7 for like our whole careers. We like some people do, but for the most part, we want to be on a stage. We want to see people. We want to see them like singing back to us and like, just having an experience together. And so we're trying to, I think, keep somewhat of that alive and that connection with people that also want to see us play too, because you've got to make sure they don't forget about you. But it's just not the same for me. Like it's fun. But it's also like, it's temporary. It's like this video goes up and you put all this work into it and then it's up. But like a show never really feels that way for me. Like when a show is over, it just builds and it's.
And you always remember it and you always remember it so clearly. Well, at least I do. You know what I mean? I can tell you probably anything random from a weird show that I've been to. It's just, I hold on to those things, and not that I don't hold on to the live streams. I always find myself sobbing watching the live streams because it's just like, depressing. I want to be there so bad.
Yeah, me too. And like, it's emotional and it's hard. And my friend has been doing this, Mikey and his uke videos. I don't know if anyone's seen some of the ones I've been in with him. And it just started as like a fun thing, but now he's done a video every day of quarantine. He's up to like 90 now. And he's had some pretty amazing people come in on them, but he did one that was like on the road again, and instead it was just him, and it was a slideshow of all the shows that he had like played, and just shows, and it like a goosebumps from head to toe. And I'm in half the pictures because we're in so many bands together, but it like I just sobbed afterwards because I was like he said, he's like, I love doing these videos for you, don't get me wrong, I love that I get to play music, but like this is what we do it for, and this is what we miss. And like I'm actually getting emotional talking about it right now because it's like that's part of who we are, and we need that to be who we are and to survive and to, you know, remain really happy. And I know it's like things shouldn't, you know, shouldn't need things to be happy, but this isn't like a physical thing. This is like a lifestyle. This is like who we are as people. And I feel like the three of you would agree with that as well.
Yeah, on the other side of the
absolutely 100%.
watching that live stream, we feel the same way for sure.
You know, and it's like us as, I mean, the three of us can't, we are not musically talented whatsoever, so we bring punk rock to you in a different way. But, you know, we thrive off of artists and stuff, so it's like to know that you guys are obviously hurting from this too hurts us, and to know that like, what is possibly going to come out of this? Are we going to be able to see our favorite bands again? Are we going to get that intimacy with them that we all need? And I need it I'm going insane. Like I'm going crazy right now.
We're all in limbo. It's like we're all just stuck where it's like we know what we need to feel better, but we cannot have it, and we know why we can't, but we're just like, I'm literally waiting to exhale right now. That is like the best description of the feeling I have, where you're like, come on. So I mean, and then there's little ways that I try to deal with it. I mean, like you saw the Decent Criminal video today too, and like they were coming in May to Toronto, and I was supposed to sing that song with them, and I was so excited because I was like, really, like, such an awesome opportunity. And then I'm like, and of course, like a month before that, it's all canceled, and like they're rebooked for next year. But I was like, fuck it, I still want to do this song, and like trying to find little things to look forward to. I think that's the most important.
That's what we said, is finding the things to look forward to, because you could have a shit day, but you're like, next week I'm going to go see this show with these people and it's going to be awesome.
Exactly. And you have to find a way to do that, like in quarantine still. And I think that's what the videos are for us too, because it's like, okay, you put work into something and then you get to release it, and maybe it's short-lived. But you know, I did a quarantine video with my sister. We did Hold On from Wilson Phillips, which is also one of my favorite songs of life. And it's coming out tonight. And I'm just so excited because it's something that's so important to me that, you know, is coming out, and you get to look forward to that. So I don't know. It's still not the same, but every little bit counts, I guess. And I mean, same with you probably, like when you watch a live stream or where someone puts out a new video or where there's new content or something, but we're all going to hit a point where we're going to be like, okay, like, this is not the same. Like, I need the real thing.
Yeah, kind of. You're watching the waves right now. People like just it seems to be like extreme highs and extreme lows. So they'll get super excited, but then they kind of just remember exactly what they're missing, and it's just like having to console somebody for the next 3 days because they saw a live stream, and just the roller coaster. Like it wears on you after a while, and it's kind of like, how can I help you? Like, just how can I ease your pain, really? Because it's not an easy.
The good thing is that you know, though, and that's the one thing where, like, we're not all the same, but we all go through that roller coaster. And one thing I found is that I've been a lot more understanding and empathetic and compassionate. And sometimes you'll have a Zoom plan or a FaceTime date with somebody, or like with a friend, and they'll just be like, you know, I can't today. I just can't do it today. I need to lock myself in my room and watch Friends reruns and ignore my phone. It's like, that's okay. Like, I think we're all learning to be a little bit more, maybe not that we weren't compassionate before, but, you know, a little bit more understanding, because we're like, yeah, I get that. Some days I feel like I can take on the world and write 10 songs and go for a jog in the park and like just kill it. And other days I'm like, I did not put on pants or socks or even clothes today. I just, you know, like ate takeout in my bed. So you just need to, like, it's about balance. You just need to do the best you can, but it's like,
I feel like that's kind of where we were, and that's how we got here. We're like, you know, we know the inevitable is here. We know we have to postpone. We tried everything we could, and we're like, you know what, for the better being of the world, we are not going to have Camp Punksylvania. We don't need the possibility of anybody getting sick, but at the same time, like, that's heartbreaking. So of course mentally there's a few days, you know, we all needed a reset, us and our whole team. Everybody's just, you're pouring your all into something every single day, and just to have it ripped away, you need a little bit of time to just kind of let that soak in and do you for a little bit. And we're here we are.
Yeah, and like feel those feelings, give yourself permission to. Like, I feel like we're a little lucky right now that usually the world's in such a hurry that there's no time to be sad. There's no time to be like, I need a break and I need 3 days to just be fucking sad, because life goes on and you have shows to play and you got to put on your happy face and work your 2 jobs. And, you know, and now it's like, okay, like we have time to, like, this is almost the perfect time for us to be sad, because we can do that and we can deal with it rather than being in a hurry to ignore it and just carry on with life. Because, you know, so I'm trying to find like the positives in it when it's like, thank God. Imagine if you know, I mean, you are still working as well, though. Like, you're working your butt off right now, too. So was that hard for you? Like, having to go on and put on your brave face?
I really don't even know if I can honestly explain it correctly. My mind and my body are just constantly go, go, go. Because I mean, I don't know if everybody really knows this, but I do own and operate a sandwich shop in Central New York. And there's a lot of places in the world and in my area that are not open right now. So a lot of people are flocking to my shop, which is, it's wonderful, pretty overwhelming. When you're a small business and you've only got a staff of like 8-9 people, it's crazy. And we're going every single day. I'm making sandwiches, you know, it's not like I'm
and you haven't slowed down at all.
I am literally making sandwiches lately because I have to. Someone's got to do it. We got to make sure we can get this stuff out of here. So it's like I go to work for 10, 12 hours a day. I come home. We're going to crank out this stuff. I made it a point, too. I actually just told Terry this earlier today. I made it a point. I told my husband, I'm like, I'm not picking up our son. You can pick him up on Thursdays. Mama is going home.
Oh, good. See, now I feel like a shit because I'm like, the world slowed down, but I'm like, my reality is so different too, because I'm used to being that. Like, I'm used to no time to sleep, no time to stop, no time to breathe, no time to hurt, grieve, nothing. And like, I can't even imagine what that's been like for you too, because you now are like, you're busier than you usually are, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of my friends, you know, a lot of people I know, they're down right now. Either they're working from home, they're out of a job completely at the moment. And then I'm just like, I kind of feel like an asshole over here saying that I'm working 60 hours a week and then but at the same time, I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that my shop is still standing, that people are still supporting us, and that we can still serve the people of the 315, I guess. But
yeah, I would be there if the border was open. I'd come work for you 100%. Like, that'd be so much fun.
Bree drove up to me a few weeks ago. I had a panic attack. I called the girls. I was like, I can't do this. And Bree was there like 8 hours later.
Oh my God, I love that. See,
what lunatic even does that?
That is the most beautiful thing, Brie. I love that. And that would be what I would, like, you know what I mean? I think people need that. And like, I've been really trying to like think of little things like that, you know, dropping off food, or like, I had a friend, I like ordered him lunch. Like, we like joke about Arby's all the time. And I was like, here's a surprise lunch just like showing up at your house randomly. Like, and it's just those little things that like we think like aren't a big deal, but it's like that can like really, that's something you're gonna remember forever. Like that can be the thing that.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? And I told my staff, I was like, all right, my friend Bree's coming in. They're like, to work? Yeah, sure. I'm not.
No, listen, no. This bitch, I did not want money. I did not want anything from her. I came home, opened my laptop, and she put money in my laptop.
Don't leave it sitting around in my kitchen. What do you want from me?
Oh my God, I love that. Do you have pictures from that day? Like, did you work together and make sandwiches and stuff? Like,
I mean, I did a little bit of everything.
Cutting some vegetables last time I was talking about it.
Yeah, I cut vegetables. I took orders. I did dishes.
Salads.
This actually sounds really fun. Can I come make sandwiches when the border opens? Because we all have to go. Let's all go together.
Down.
Oh my God, we can have like. Did anyone ever in elementary school do those little field trips? You know, where you go to like a pizzeria and you learn how to make the pepperoni pizza. We can do it like punk rock sandwich day.
Oh my God, that would make me so happy. And we'll just like punk rock playlist all day, and then we'll just like, I don't know, have a backyard campfire sing along afterwards. It'll be awesome.
I'm very lucky. Most of my staff is like super. I mean, I grew up my dad owned a pizzeria, and I grew up with a bunch of guys, and they all listened to skate punk and metal and stuff. So that's, of course, what I grew up on. I grew up on all of that stuff. So now a lot of these guys work for me, and that's what's blaring in my kitchen. We've got a record player in there. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I would absolutely love that. That'd be my dream day. Like I said, I'm one of those weird, I love working. I miss it. I'm like, please, like, I just volunteer. Give me something to do to keep me busy and like help me stay sane that way.
I'm thankful for it.
I don't like being free, having
in
free
a lot
time.
of aspects. I can't imagine. I'm not the type of person that can sit around. My mind goes to really nasty places if I'm not occupied 24/7, unfortunately. So I have to be focusing on something or doing something and making sure that I keep it on the bright side, you know, because I know that this is a super dark time for a lot of people, and I can't possibly be a help to anybody else if I can't help myself at all. So and that's great that you recognize that. Yeah, I'm just thankful to be, like I said, in the position that I am, but Jesus, it's kicking my ass.
Well, being home, I have 4 kids. And they've been home with me for the last
nonstop. And you're like, just go do something.
Oh my God. That's how much my grocery bill was last month.
Oh.
Almost $1,500.
Wow, that's a lot, Bree.
And I bet the cleaning never stops either. It's like the dishes and the cleaning, it's like 3 times a day. I'm like, there's just 2 of us here. I don't know where all the shit comes from.
Like, I feed them 3 meals a day now, and they wear like 12 outfits every day. Like, what the fuck?
Where are you going that you need to change 12 times?
Right. You don't leave the house. You don't leave.
They get bored and have fashion shows. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's totally fine.
Fire behind me. You're grumpy.
I have 1. I cannot imagine having any more.
My dog has been too needy for me. I can't imagine if I had children. Thank God I don't, because I don't think I have the
truth be told, like, they're being raised by YouTube a lot of the time right now. Like,
Netflix is key.
You know,
they don't need your constant supervision.
It's hard being a parent right now. It really is. Normally, your kids have at least a little bit of routine.
We're stuck at home.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so many art projects you can do and cookies you can bake. And
yeah, it's like, you know how we feel being cooped up at home, not being able to work, not being able to do all this stuff. Imagine being like 8 years old and not being able to see your friends or not being able to go to the playground or anything.
And we have sleepovers like every weekend. Like, there's usually like 10, 12 kids at my house on the weekend. And
yeah, I bet. And now it's just nothing. And you have to like get creative. It's like you get sick of Netflix and stuff. So you have to be like, hey, like, go build a fort. My kids are like, are you crazy? No one wants to do
that. Mine are older, so they're just like, nah.
They're like, we're good on our YouTube. We're like our devices, our laptops and
I'm building Minecraft, Mom.
Perfect.
All right.
See, Oliver's not there yet. He doesn't stop.
I'm going to be the bearer of bad news because we only have 4 minutes before this thing kicks us off.
Holy crap, really?
No, it felt like nothing. Right? 40 minutes. But Amy, where can we find your stuff?
Spotify or iTunes, YouTube. I mean, all the kind of basic ones. Amy Gabba and the Almost Famous. If you just search that in there, they should come up. And I think there's an Instagram page and a Facebook page too. So I think if you just Amy Gabba and the Almost Famous, it'll just search it. See what comes up. It's pretty easy. The thing is about the name being so damn long is that you can't confuse it with anything else. Like nothing else comes up. So you can remember it.
There was like a good 2 weeks that was like, I'm like cleaning my house and all the windows are open and I have my speaker hooked up and that's just.
No way, really?
Oh my gosh,
yes. For days.
That was like right after I first like found you and stuff. I was like, what? Who is she?
Did you hear about it from Mabel Syndrome? Is that where you heard it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was like New Music Monday or something like that. But
I love that you checked it out. That honestly is just so, that makes me feel like goosebumps everywhere. I love that so much.
Of course I checked it out. I like I said, I trust those girls, even though I don't know a lot of them. Like, you think that that's cool, I'm going to listen to it and check it out. And now look where we are. She's playing camp next year.
I am. Hey, like I said to Bree, like I think yesterday, I was like, Vegas has got to be kind of scared because seriously, I'm like, I feel like you are sisters I've like never met before. And when we finally get together, it's going to be a house on fire. Like it's going to be.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, there's
We'll
Terry
ride that
and
train
Bree.
wreck.
They weren't going this past year. There's a lot of people that haven't been able to go that are now saying, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go in 2021 because it's going to be big.
It's going to be.
And I can only afford it because we haven't had shows all year.
Excited to
and it's going to be emotional.
Have
like
something
there's
like
going to
that
be
too, whether it be months and months away. There better be.
But you know
or
what?
We will riot.
It's going to be the best feeling after all the like pain and all this. Like we'll remember this talk and be like, hey, remember when we would have given like our right foot just to go to a show? Look where we are. And it's just, you're going to appreciate it so much. And like, yeah, I'm sad we're going through this right now, but when we're all finally together, like I'm going alone. I know we've like had conversations with girls about going alone. I've never done that before, but going to my first festival all by myself. So, and I don't feel
not anymore because you got us.
Yeah, exactly. I know you're going to be
together.
there.
We're going alone.
Yeah, so it's perfect. I love that we have that space to be able to do that. That everyone's going to be, all together.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
All right. Well, Amy, thank you for coming on and signing up for next year's camp. That's fantastic. We love it. We are so happy. We keep putting people on the show, and then we're just going to have our whole lineup by like next week.
That's actually a really good strategy. You should do that. But I am 1,000%
put you on the spot. Just be like, yeah, so you're playing Camp Anarch or Punksylvania next year, and then you're going to be like,
yep.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I already agreed.
All right. Well,
thank you so much, Amy.
No, thank you, ladies. I actually just realized I was like, I want to take a picture, but your faces are so small. Thank you for having me. I love you all.
We can take one.
I wanna go to Camp Punksylvania. I wanna go to Camp Punksylvania.
You guys heard it here first. Amy Gabba is our first confirmed artist for Camp Punksylvania 2021. Woo! Thank you again so much. We had a great time hanging out with you. That was awesome.
It was so much fun.
So next week, we've got a lot of cool things coming your way. We're featuring Chrissy of Evil Engine on Off the Deep End, and also the Venomous Pinks on Sisterhood of the Traveling Punx. If you guys have any questions for any of those artists, get in touch with us, get in touch with them. We can't wait to bring that to you, and we'll see you guys next week.
yeah, make sure to subscribe to our channel, too. If you like our shit, subscribe, send us comments, and all our links are
and tell all of your friends.
Bye, guys.
Bye.